Welcome to Oberlin Community Candidates Night 2020, Candidates in Conversation.
I am Maurice Price-Jones. I live in Oberlin and I'm president of the League of Women Voters of the Oberlin area this year. Joining me is Alison Ricker, co-chair of the OCCN committee. She'll be keeping time for us tonight. And there are two candidates for Lorain County Recorder, Judy Nedwick and Mike Duran. Before we begin, I want to recommend a very useful source of information on these candidates and everything else for the election. It's vote411.org. It's a website that's created by the League of Women Voters, and it provides this summary of the responsibilities of the county recorder. It says to record deeds, mortgages, plats, liens, and other written instruments. It also has information on everything to do with the election. So don't forget, vote411.org. We're going to begin with 2-minute statements from each candidate, beginning with Mike Duran, and then move into questions from the OCCN committee and those submitted by the community members. Alternating between the candidates, we'll take 20 minutes for answering questions, followed at the end by 3 minutes each for any follow-up or responses to each other. Are the rules clear?
Yes.
Then we shall begin. Please, Mr. Duran, would you begin?
Okay, so I plan to bring a fresh new look to the recorder's office, not only with my knowledge of cybersecurity, but also expand the online historical document searches. I'd like to maintain the secure systems. I've also been working with other county recorders throughout the throughout the state to provide our property owners with a much needed property fraud alert system. It seems like since about 2003, our recorder's office slowly been becoming more a part of the auditor's office. While these offices really should be working together, I believe they should be separate entities as well. I mean, maintain their separate identities.
I can't understand.
You can't understand?
I couldn't. You were breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I said I'd like to bring a new look, fresh new look to the recorder's office, and not only bring my knowledge of cybersecurity, but also expand the historical databases while maintaining security. It seems like since about 2003 or so, the recorder's office has become more a part of the county auditor office. And while these offices should work hand in hand together, I believe they should also be separate entities, separate departments.
That's your introduction. Okay, in that case, we'll move to Ms. Nedwick. Would you please give us your opening statement?
Sure. Hi. Judy Nedwick. I've been recorder since I was appointed in 2003, lifelong resident of Lorain County, appointed in 2003, worked 20 years in the real estate transfer office with the auditor. I have a staff of 9. And like you said, you kind of covered what we record. We're dictated by the Ohio Revised Code, and served as president of our Ohio Recorders Association. I was on the executive committee for the Ohio Recorders Association. I sit on legislative committee, which creates legislation for the state of Ohio for 88 counties, which I enjoy. Implemented technology to allow the office to be more public. We go back to 1984 with our deeds. Deeds are recorded real time. Other than that, we began e-recording in 2010. Don't know how to respond to Mr. Duran's, us working with the auditor's office. Auditor transfers, we record. So, we're all separate departments. We have to work hand in hand to make sure the documents get corrected. Other than that, I have developed the Veterans ID program, which I'm very proud of. And I'll kind of leave it at that. So I'll ask for questions. We're very proud of our office. We're 2 people working from home right now because of the COVID. Very protective of our employees.
Thank you both very much for your opening statements. We can now move on to the first question. And I think we'll begin with you to answer first this time, Ms. Nedwick. So the question is, what skills do you bring to the position that make you best suited for the role? Please relate those skills directly to the responsibilities and duties of the county recorder.
I will. I think my skills were developed in working in the real estate transfer office for 20 years. You learn the people, you learn the documents. I was able to bring that skill down here. I would work very well with the legal community. If there's a problem that comes in, I can certainly look at a deed. And like I said, we are under the Ohio Revised Code here. Everything has to be notarized. You know, there's certain documents that we take, certain, you know, that we have to question. We work with our prosecutor on that. And I feel like I'm very highly skilled with documents that come through. I work well with the title people. And you learn. Experience is a good teacher.
Thank you. Mr. Duran, would you like to answer the question? I'm quite happy to repeat the question if you'd like.
I'll go ahead and repeat again, just so I can.
What skills do you bring to the position that make you best suited for the role? Please relate those skills directly to the responsibilities and duties of the county recorder.
Okay, so I really weigh big back on my IT background and cybersecurity. There have been some issues throughout the county, not just in the recorder's office.
I can't hear.
There have been a few instances throughout the county, whether it be the recorder's office or anything else, with cybersecurity and malware attacks and that type of thing. And I have an IT background, and I'm good with that kind of thing. I also have a family that's in real estate, and you do a lot of real estate transactions and those kind of things. So I understand how that works, and I have the right title companies and people, and also partnerships with some other recorders throughout the state to help me out if there is any issue with something that I don't see that doesn't seem to be right.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll now move on to the second question. And this time we'll begin with you first, Mr. Duran, if that's okay.
No problem.
So the second question is, what is the biggest challenge facing the Office of County Recorder, and what should be done to address that challenge?
Okay, so what I believe the biggest challenge facing the department right now is ongoing updates in technology, as well as updates in the people who want to attack that technology, because we have a lot of hackers and those kind of things, people who want to get into and access our information. So I believe that the biggest way to solve that problem is to actually work with the other county departments in developing a unified county IT department, rather than hiring people who, just people who we know or that kind of stuff. We have to actually have a dedicated IT department throughout the county, not something that's going to change when we get a new elected official in office. So definitely working with those, the other county officials, the elected officials, to do that rather than the way that it is right now with a separate IT department for each individual department, because the county is one big unit and it should be treated that way in regards of IT security and that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Duran. Same question now to you, Ms. Nedwick, and I'm happy to repeat the question if you would like.
Yeah, repeat it, please.
Okay. What is the biggest challenge facing the Office of County Recorder, and what should be done to address that challenge?
Well, as Mr. Durant was speaking, we have a very fine county IT department. I do not have my own IT person. We are a hosted system. Everybody here works together. There are different offices that have their own IT person. As we're hosted, I'm hosted by a system that we have no equipment in here no longer. And I know you're referring to my attack by the malware. It was one of the worst days of my life, believe me. And we were back working with the title companies that evening. We were a success story thanks to our Lorain County IT department. And that's my response.
Okay, is that your answer to the question too?
What was the rest of the question?
Oh, the question was about the biggest challenge facing the Office of County Recorder and what should be done to address the challenge.
You know, every day is a challenge with the COVID. Every day is a challenge. And the one thing that has helped us, and if you speak of technology, 49% of our documents are handled through e-recording, which I started, which has helped the traffic flow. We're very protective of our employees. There's drop-off times for documents. We work with the auditor on those. You know, as Mr. Durant's, you know, we have to work with the auditor's office. It has to get transferred before it can get recorded. And every day is a challenge. And we record real time. It's out there for the world to see real time. And the only thing that's not out there are DD-214's veterans release papers. It's every day is a challenge in life anymore, isn't it? Because you second guess what you're doing with the COVID.
Thank you, Ms. Nedwick. To be fair, since I brought you in for a second shot there, Mr. Duran, would you like to add anything to your previous answer?
One thing that I noticed that's going on because of COVID is, as she mentioned, the DD-214s. I looked online, and from what it says on there, it looks like you need to schedule an appointment before you file a DD-214. And the office right across the hallway, which is the title office, you're able to just walk in and get a title for your car. I kind of put the DD-214 on a slightly higher level than the car titles. And I think that being able to, if the other offices are able to go ahead and take people in right away, I feel like filing your veterans ID paperwork should be something that's a slightly high priority.
Okay, thank you. For the third question, we're going to turn to you first, Ms. Nedwick. I hope I'm right, and I certainly know that Alison will correct me if I'm wrong. So question 3 is, on Vote 411, which we discussed a moment ago, it's the League of Women Voters site to provide information for the voters. On Vote 411, Mr. Duran makes a point regarding the processing of veterans' discharge papers and issuing veteran IDs. Tell us more about that process and how it could be improved in terms of efficiency and effectiveness for veterans.
To begin with, we are trying to protect the veterans with the COVID. There is nobody, if they knock on my door and they want a veteran's ID, they get a veteran's ID. All we're doing is protecting. That DD-214 has to be recorded because we can issue, before we can issue that veteran's card. And the appointment, you know, we're very lenient. We you know, and if you want to compare us to out of title, I can't compare us to out of title. Our office runs efficiently. The documents are dropped off, they're recorded. And the best part of my life at work is to see a veteran walk in and say, thank you for your service. And they are never turned away if they knock on that door. And all we want to do is protect their health and our well-being here in the office.
Okay, Thank you. Maybe it would help if I clarified that you, Ms. Nedwick, are currently the county recorder, and Mr. Duran is the challenger at this election. Mr. Duran, would you care to answer that question, and would you like me to restate it?
So if you wouldn't mind restating again, just so I'm answering directly after.
Okay. On vote 411, you, Mr. Duran, make a point regarding the processing of veterans' discharge papers and issuing veteran IDs. Tell us more about the process and how it could be improved in terms of efficiency and effectiveness for veterans.
So as for the process, Judy just stated right now, I haven't been in the office to understand how everything goes on. She says they knock on the doors, but there is on the website, it says that you must have an appointment to go in and get your veteran ID card. And I'm not sure if that may turn some veterans away or anything like that, but what I would really like to do is be welcoming for all veterans. So I'm really glad and proud of her that she doesn't turn away anyone. It's just on the website, it does say that to turn in your DD 214 paperwork, you do need an appointment. So maybe that's just a correction on the website that needs to be done. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to question 4. And this question will go to you first, Mr. Duran. What are the concerns related to fraud in the, quote, written instruments handled by the recorder? And who is in a position to implement solutions that might address those concerns?
Okay. So as for fraud, there are always the possibility of fraud, just like anything else with your bank account, your credit card information. There's information out there. And as for who's in the position, one of the people in the position is the county recorder's office. And one thing that I've noted that a few of the other county recorders that I've been working with actually have in place already is a property fraud alert system. And the way this works is similar to on my credit card and my bank statement, they have my cell phone number and my email address. And if anything that seems out of the ordinary starts happening, I get a text message and an email, which is just a fraud alert system. So the way these work is your property, if it starts to go towards a transfer, they send you an email alert. That way, if you, the property owner, decide that, hey, wait a minute, I'm not transferring this property, you can go and check and contact the recorder's office before this fraud continues itself.
Okay. Ms. Nedwick, would you care for me to restate the question, or are you?
Oh, I understand the question, and we do have property check. That's in place in our office. I don't know if Mr. Duran knew that or not, but I've seen deeds that maybe are fraudulent. We record what we take in. If there's a problem, I work with the prosecutor. We have property fraud alert in our system.
Okay. Well, we can move on then to question 5, and this will go to you first, Ms. Nedwick.
Okay.
Well, how would you describe the significance of the Office of the Recorder for smooth operations in the county?
We kind of run, we've processed so many documents this year. The e-recording, they're done in real time. Everything that's handed to us is real time, and it flows, it's out there for the world to see. It's out there for the title companies to see. And, it runs so good. Our system is so good how it runs. We do the scanning. The deeds are handed right back. That's something new that I had implemented. They used to be kept in the office for 2 to 3 days. Right now, that document, and I don't mean to just refer to a deed because we take many documents, that's given right back to the title company, right back to the attorney, or right back to the public that's filing the document.
Thank you, Ms. Nedwick. Mr. Duran, would you care for a repeat of the question?
Yes, please.
how would you describe the significance of the Office of the Recorder for smooth operations in the county?
So the the recorder's office is very significant in that they have to work with several other offices, including the recorder and the treasurer, getting everything smoothly done and working with all of these other offices to get those deeds done, just like the deeds, the plots, and everything else, just like Judy had previously stated. The auditor's role, the recorder's role is very, very important.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask our timer now, our official timer. Do we have time for a sixth question?
Yes, I believe we do.
Okay, well, this question will be directed to you first, Mr. Duran. What policy or legislative actions do you suggest will adjust inequality to provide better opportunity for marginalized people in our county?
So the recorder's office is actually bound by revised code. So you're not, as a recorder, you don't make laws and you can't change that kind of stuff. The one thing though, however, that I would like to do for the marginalized community is right now there is a good deeds program. And from what I understand it's more for estate planning and those kind of things that people that are more wealthy would do. What I would like to do is redirect that towards an education program for less privileged people so that they can understand what goes into the process of purchasing real estate and owning a home and being able to transfer that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Duran. Ms. Nedwick, would you care for a repeat of the question?
I sure would. The Good Deeds Program is something that we work with Judge Walther with. We've done, I think, 5 of them. The program is not it's for that widow that walks in here that has just lost her husband or vice versa, that they don't know what to do. And you certainly don't want to be the one that says you have to go to probate court. So Judge Walther and I developed the Good Deeds Program that is for every resident in Lorain County. I don't care if you make $1 million, $2 million, whatever your income, no one is turned away. And the hurt that you see if somebody can't afford, an attorney, this program is outstanding, and it tugs at your heartstrings to be able to help these people. That's my diversity. It's just a good, we go out after work, the attorneys donate their time, there's no charge to anybody, and we have found it to be one of the most valuable. They learn about how not to go to probate court, what type of deed they should hold their document in, and that's my response.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you both for your good answers to the 6 questions that were submitted, some from the voters and some from the committee. We are going to move into the opportunity for you to sum up. I'll remind everybody again that this is our best effort at replacing the in-person candidates night that has been so much a feature of Oberlin over the years. We're very glad to be able to do something, and we trust that in your summaries you'll help to inform the public who will be, by mail, absentee, in person, on the day, whatever, voting in this election in November. And please bear in mind what we're trying to do is help those voters understand the issues, understand the candidates, make up their minds. So bearing that in mind, I will ask Ms. Nedwick first for a 3-minute summary.
3 minutes, huh? Okay, I want to thank you for your time. The questions were quite enlightening to me. One thing, I'm kind of looking at the papers I had out. the last question. We do have a program that I worked on the legislation for our police, fire, EMTs. They can come in and their information can be not wholly redacted from the system. And that's a program we're very proud of. I love what I do. I love to work with people. Like I said before, I have a very good relationship with the legal community. I have a very, very good relationship with, of course, our probate judge, Judge Walther. And, all county offices work together because that's what makes the county work. And, I would appreciate your vote to be able to continue to do what I'm doing. I love my job and I'm good at my job.
Thank you, Ms. Nedwick.
You're welcome.
I'll now turn it over for a 3-minute summary from Mr. Lorain.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's going to take the entire 3 minutes. I just would like to let everyone know that I believe that I am the best choice for this position. I plan on working the full 4-year term and working together with the rest of the county to make the recorder's office even better than it is right now. I'd like to thank everyone for watching this, and I'd like to thank everyone for considering voting for me.
Well, thank you both very much. And thank you to the committee that you are co-chairing, Alison, that's overcome some real difficulties and are attempting to make this as normal an election as we can, and prolonging the work of so many in the community to help inform the voters and make the election system work. Thank you all for participating.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. The OCCN has been a nonpartisan collaboration for more than 25 years, involving these 10 organizations during 2020.